Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are in for another BTS Americas series. It's time for number 4, the Quattro, if you will. Back again, it's going to be myself, KotLGuy, and we have another 16 teams ready to square off for a chunk of the $10,000 prize pool. Should be a hell of a time. We're starting right now. This is day number 1, or opening night. And going to be joining me for my opening night, if you will, is going to be Blaze, joining me remotely. Blaze, I hope everything's coming in loud and clear. How you doing? How's your break been? And what's been new in the world of Blaze?
Radiant team pick.
Some great Dota, whether it was from Shanghai or now obviously the land Dota pit's been a lot of fun. I've got to spend some time with family, and that's always great too. Moving forward, though, I'm really excited about this BTS series. We've got some great teams, and just the fact that all these teams are rapidly changing their playstyles over the next 9 days, like that's going to be kind of showing us what the remainder of 6.86 has to offer before presumably another patch will come out, but that still of course remains to be seen. Looking at the matchup ahead of us though, man, Fire versus T-Show, and a brand new Fire at that. I mean, yeah, we had Archon listed on the site or when I made the announcement originally, but now we've got this bit of a shuffled roster and a brand new name.
Yeah, so obviously, as I was initially prepping for, I'm sure you were, and as you already alluded to, Archon was originally set to be a part of BTS Americas, but as it turns out, it looks like with Archon's new roster, really Moo is the only lasting member, and really that's not enough to justify the Archon that I would assume deserves the invite. But more of the former Archon squad are actually on this new roster of Fire. But as we know, Fire, a very familiar name, at least in America Dota. This has been a team that's been around for quite a while. We've seen early forms of Fluff plus Mike and Jo, and then they dropped a Mike, they gained a Fog, and at one point they even had a fucking Mad. Demon was on the squad, Ush. This team has been around the block. Dragonfist has been on the team previously, and this is almost a reincarnation of one of the older squads here. One of the newest faces for at least the team Fire will be Justin, I believe, who is Koshu. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, Blaze, but we know Justin, of course. He had a time with E-Hug for a while there, but he's back in form. And also a big name next to him is Demon, Blaze. Demon is back to play once again.
Yeah, he's been, I mean, around the block, a few random teams there. Probably the most recent significant one was the Champions of Summer's Rift, but also got to play with Justin on High Council Wizards and Priests. Well, that was a brief jaunt into that team roster. It's just been a little bit of a NA shuffle throughout the past couple of years that has given these teammates the chance to meet each other, to develop some synergy, and to hopefully bring it forth into this new lineup. Because, I mean, a lot of people are looking at this as a last stand, a last opportunity for a few of these guys that have been on less impactful teams than they'd have wanted to be. Like, obviously, Demon is one of those players that has had some tremendous history behind it, playing on EG and Team Liquid. But now, if he wants to continue playing competitively, these teams have to work. And, of course, with the roster lock coming up from the Manila Major for International, this is make or break. This counts. So this is a premiere of the team roster, and I think it means a lot to these teams. Well, I guess we can jump into the draft at this point. We do see 8 bans already taken care of. We see the heavy push heroes of Nature's Prophet, a Lone Druid, as well as Enchantress banned out in the Phase 1, and the Earth Spirit as well. Then you got the kind of heavy-hitting team fight banned out by the Tide and the Void, whereas the Death Prophet and Peel were banned out by T-Show. So Resilient team just doesn't want to really have to deal with those cores that are really hard to bring down and focus down. They just want to kind of slow the roll of Fire, but Fire already bringing out some amazing heroes to bring to bear against T-Show.
Big heavy hitters, great lockdown, and already a swell of some respectable team fight coming out from the side of Fire here. Over on the other corner, though, we haven't had much too much to say about them yet. T-Show, the latest kind of South American squad, which is also almost a reincarnation of a lot of former players here, recognizing the names, of course, of Tavo, who's been on the likes of Swag and Tiger, all the way up and through CMB, and to as recent as Pain Gaming, I believe, now making a show here. C4T also in AA. Very familiar names in the Southern American scene. Happy to see them back in action. Their squad, though, recent grab, going to be the Ursa, so going pretty heavy into the man fight here. I suppose Alacrity Ursa ain't a bad thing after all, but I'm curious to see what they're going to look to build on top of it, because outside the Witch Doctor, Death Ward, and Invoker's heavy spell casting, if not disabled, their team fight does not seem to be matching up with Fire Dota's so far. And what an interesting fourth grab here. The Shadow Demon being picked up here from from Captain Whitebeard. Did we also mention that Whitebeard is drafting?
Yeah, that's amazing in of itself. I mean, obviously, there's plenty of over-the-shoulder action from Fluff, no doubt. But the fact that he is having the kind of final say on these picks is going to be very indicative of where they want to go with the drafts. And I was most curious about how they're actually going to draft their support heroes, because Whitebeard and Fluff, the consistent members on the team, have the most experience playing together as supports. And I would say that their picks going into these kinds of drafts will be very telling about how the game moves, how the game flows. I think the Shadow Demon is a great pick against Ursa because of the Demonic Purge, the fact that you can slow him down so he can't stay on target, and it just makes his life pretty miserable. But in turn, the Darkseer will have the Surge, and if he casts it after the Demonic Purge comes out, should still allow Ursa to have a decent time staying on target. Then he, of course, still has to fight through the Roar and a couple of banishing spells in the Astral Imprisonment Disruption, but at least he's got a shot with the Darkseer behind him.
Yeah, we'll see. It sounds good in theory, but you were naming off a fair amount of disables and ways he could potentially be guided right there, so it does come down to a lot of the execution. And maybe something Tisho could bring is just that typical raw South American aggression we see from a lot of these teams that can maybe throw off the Fire Squad a bit. But rounding things out the back end, Fire Dota will remove the Enigma as their last ban. Over back on T-Show here, we are wagering the Justin pickup here, and Justin as a, well, what looks potentially like a safe lane core pickup. It's been a while since I've seen him play. I know in his time on eHug, he was actually their mid lane player, and we got to see a lot of Tinker during that period where Tinker was very, very crazy. But since then, I'm curious to see if he kind of just works with what has been in the meta as of recent. And if that's the case, Blaze, what do we think could suit best? It's not going to be a Slark anymore, but we'll have to see what they go for instead.
Yeah, so from what I've heard, Justin is a very flexible one-position carry. Like, he, in the past, loved heroes like Morphling and Anti-Mage, which seems slower paced. But in my talks with Fluff and stuff, he seems confident that they're not going to be as chained to the late game as they were when they had Jayo on their side. Jayo loves the hard late game carries, so you saw a lot of times Team Archon having to go for the very late game strategies and just trying to win at like around the 60-minute mark, generally speaking. With Fire, he feels like he has a little bit more flexibility, and Whitebeard should be able to bring him something that's a little bit earlier tempo. So minute and a half left on the clock. I think maybe the Morphling wouldn't be too bad here, but they're going to go with the Queen of Pain and do away with the like hard carry classics. Like the OD in this case will be, I guess, in the one position, but it's not your tradition.
Yeah, this is definitely not putting a lot of late game potential on the side of Fire Dota. There could be a bit of an expiration date here, unless the OD is able to kind of have a successful laning stage and be able to snowball and be the hard hitter we've seen many a time. But it does make it a bit interesting to see if it'll be Queen mid or the OD mid. Do you think there's going to be a preference for one or the other? I mean, it is nice to have that flexibility to kind of force T-Show to be a bit guessing here. They've already committed for the Invoker, and they already have their core Ursa, so all they have to work with is one remaining support, and I don't know if that could make the difference between either or committing to one lane or the other.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure if it makes too much of a difference, because OD is really good against the Darkseer or against the Invoker, and the Queen of Pain can do fine against either. I guess it depends on what support you're worried about ganking you, and that's T-Show's last pick. But in general, like, I feel like they'll be able to run the laning configuration in either way. It's just, do they want rotations? Do they want to have to rotate to the mid lane? Do they want the mid lane to rotate somewhere else, as the Queen of Pain commonly does? You were talking about we'll see the Night Stalker as that last pick for the support. Ooh. So there is going to be a lot of aggression, and that makes it a little bit more difficult for the Queen of Pain to feel as confident. I think the OD might be able to be just the safer pick. He has a better base armor, and if he does get the self-imprisonment off, he can keep himself safe as he gets allies time to respond.
But it will be, as we know, Blaze, Dragon Fist in their mid lane, and this isn't a TA, so we'll have to see what the hell it's going to be doing. For those of you who don't know, of course, Dragon Fist used to be a pretty popular streamer. He used to just stream. I haven't even seen him stream at all. I mean, I don't know if that's maybe his own testament to trying to take the game a bit more seriously and get back in the pro scene, but we knew him to be a fiend with the TA play in the mid lane, being one of the best in the game at playing that hero at the time. So I'm curious to see what Dragon Fist is and what his kind of experience is going to be bringing to this particular team. There's a lot of questions for a lot of these players to see what kind of performance they're going to be pulling out in their, well, what we may consider their return to competitive action right now. But it looks like we are going to get underway. We are back, people. It's BTS Americas 4. And we're going to be leading off with Fire versus T-Show. We'll see Mr. AA on the Ursa head towards this bottom lane, right? So no early TPs, no early movements to get wards down with the exception of this top lane. It looks like Nightstalker was able to get there and get a side ward down. But look at this Blaze. Fire already on the move as a 5-man unit here towards the bottom rune. Is this to maybe just go for an early confrontation? Are they committing to go for an invade? Who do you think would get the better end of a level 1 fight, and should it be Fire?
Well, I think that in general, as long as they can balance out their movement against the paralyzing cast, that Fire are pretty confident in this position, and they do want to get these wards down for the Beastmaster. Make sure that Demon's going to be able to feel confident in his lane, and he's already got one down. Cannot fully rely on the Hawk here, as the Witch Doctor's damage allows him to two-shot that thing, and yeah, you just don't want him to really have a chance. In fact, we're actually going to be even seeing a block of the Western hard camp here, so it's going to be more difficult. If the Darkseer gets zoned out, he'll have less options in terms of his own jungle and that sort of thing. So yeah, really just a lot of hate on these camps, and making it so that if they win the top lane, which a hero like Shadow Demon against Darkseer is very commonly able to do, then you're going to be able to make it so the Darkseer can't recover from it.
Looks like a Dragon Fist will secure the bounty rune there at the bottom. This leaves T-Show's best gamers, or maybe just ZS right here. I'll have to apologize ahead of time for a lot of the players on T-Show. I'm not sure if this is their proper alias or not, and I'll make best, but for these...
A lot of them are not, to be fair.
Yeah,
so
I'm doing my best here. And then you, like, learn 3 names previous to what they're currently like, oh, yeah, it's that guy. Of course. But we'll see how the Invoker and the Queen of Pain matchup is going to be breaking out here in the mid lane. But I got to say, after you mentioned a bit, it's refreshing to see Demon not just back in play, but he's playing the Beastmaster. This has been a tried and true, his bread and butter hero for quite a while. Hell, his sub icon on his channel is a Beastmaster, for God's sakes, Blaze. He'll have to deal with a zoning Witch Doctor, though, and even Ursa, who's ready to get proactive if necessary.
Yeah, so it should be really interesting to see what he can accomplish with the hero. In general, I really like the aspect of Fire's draft where yeah, you said they don't really want to take it super late game, but the one issue that OD has is fighting against targets that have BKBs. They're not going to have that issue this game because they've got abilities like Demonic Purge and Primal Roar, even the Sonic Wave going through the BKB. So it's going to make it so that no matter what stage of the game, they're going to be able to control or at least damage their opposition and create some real difficulty. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see how this pans out. Is actually Darkseer is getting aggressive here, but they got the 3v2, and I think they can actually bring Tavo down here.
Ooh, it looked like he was casting the Surge, but I don't know if it officially went off. It looks like it did. It will be on cooldown. He's stuck between the creeps, but he is going to be able to slip through. Gets off a fellow Iron Shell onto the Nightstalker to help him out a bit. It looks like Fluff's going to step in. Gets off the Disruption right here. Is it going to be enough? He gets the helpful Surge, and they will make it away from trouble, but he is very low on life. We'll have to chew through what looks like his last tango, potentially, if not making the trip all the way back to base or something, but just a little bit of a scuttle right here between both sides, and Fire more so asserting their dominance in this top lane.
Yeah, so of course what we are looking at here is that Koshu doesn't have, or Justin doesn't have the Arcane Orb just yet, so even if he wanted to burn his mana pool early to try to get a little bit extra damage out, that wasn't an option for him. But on the plus side, this gives the Essence Aura possibility for your allies, so that Shadow Demon with a 40 mana cost spell never has to worry about his mana pool. And even the Phoenix, who is a hero that mostly just wants to get Tranquil Boots and keep his health up, is independent of that resource as well.
And we'll see minor movement here. Whitebeard trying to stay off the radar, stay in the dark. So that does force Tisha to play a bit more nervous here, but they're confident here. Tavo's looking to charge on in. Looks like the brief Astral onto the range creep at that moment here, but he's having to take the extra bit of damage. Fluff looking to intercept, sweeps him from behind. Whitebeard not committing to the lane quite yet. Very difficult lane to bring down. He'll commit out the Death Ray, if you will, and poke him down a bit. Tavo's still stuck with very low mana, has a Mango in reserve if necessary, but would you say that this is working out at all for T-Show, having to make it now a dual lane with the benefit for this Darkseer just to get a little bit of extra XP and farm? Is this good enough, or is it not working?
It's actually really frustrating for Darkseer. The delayed level 3, the delayed level 5 makes it very difficult for him to commit to the lane, but because you're not up against like a melee farmer, you're not up against a Spectre or something, you're up against this OD, you know you're not going to be able to really force the enemy carry off the wave anyways. What's going to be more annoying is if he did rotate into the jungle by the 4-minute mark and realized that his jungle isn't an option either, that would have been a lot of wasted time. But in general, like, it's not the end of the world right now. They're not getting destroyed in the laning phase. It's just that they're not really able to make their mark on the map yet, and they're going to be pretty dependent on the Invoker and Ursa to start coming online.
Ooh, after they do bully back that top lane a bit, they pay a visit towards the Invoker in that mid lane that you're talking of, and Invoker is getting etched a bit more CS for himself, but he's playing in a very reserved position. It looks like Nightstalker will be able to spot out Fluff, so he will have to depart. But they're thinking about reconverging here onto this Nightstalker, who's still only level 1, but they're coming from all fronts right now. Tavo even getting involved, but a blink out from Dragon Fist will get him to safety, but not for Fluff. Fluff will go down, and that will be first blood for T-Show, and a Sunstrike will be off the mark, not able to catch on the Whitebeard, but look at Nightstalker run, man. He gets the helpful search. He's trying to get close enough there, has level 2, but does not have the Void. We'll have to pull away from that, so just one to go down. It will be Fluff. Does open up a bit more space for Justin here in the top lane on his OD to continue to farm up, and you know, on the other side you could just as easily say, Blaze, that AA continues to get a lot for himself. He's top of CS right now, 35-5 on his Ursa.
Yeah, so he's obviously going to be able to do a lot this game, but I still feel he's kind of like just outpicked in terms of Ursa versus the Shadow Demon in particular. Like, Shadow Demon is absolutely my favorite counter pick to Ursa. The Soul Catcher, it counteracts his Enrage in a big way. The Demonic Purge obviously kiting the melee hero, and if you ever are able to farm up an Aghanim Scepter on the Shadow Demon, the Ursa might as well not exist. You just keep using Demonic Purge, you mute his passive, and you just make it impossible for him to stay on target. So while the Ursa is getting farm, he's also feeling more and more like it's going to be coming down to crunch time pretty soon.
Yeah, and we'll have to see what he's going to be making out of that crunch time, whether it's picking up his next item. It looks like Morbid Mask is available to him if he decides to pick it up right now, which seems to be the case. Then options for Roche become a bit easier, but I know it's going to be something that Team Fire are going to be wary of. Anytime this Ursa steps out from the lane, they're going to have eyes on it, and to their convenience, they have a Beastmaster on their team with a Hawk. So getting this Ursa inside that Roche pit and getting the job done, Blaze, is there any chance that we could see him do it while all 5 of Fire on the map, or is it just more pressure for T-Show to try to do it on the back of a good swift gank or even team fight?
I think they have to win to take the Roche, but mostly it's because they're up against a Beastmaster. That Hawk is just going to be always over the pit whenever the Ursa could even possibly do Rush. I mean, look, there's one right now, and the Ursa has only just picked up the Morbid Mask, so they are very well aware of his almost necessity of taking Roshan very early, and they're going to deny him that bare necessity. It's going to be tough for him to actually start spiking in terms of combat potential.
How detrimental would you say for an Ursa where they're not able to kind of get that first sneaky Roche happening, and how much more detrimental would it be in this particular game when you're already talking about the counters that are already out there for the Ursa?
I mean, because it's almost a given, like, at least usually you're threatening Roche and your enemy has to constantly waste time scouting it. It's usually a really big deal, and I would say in this game it still would be. It's just because he can't rely on it, it's going to be slowing him down significantly in terms of, I would say mostly his first set of kills. When you get that Roche, then you get that gold spike and that experience spike, and then you move in recklessly with the Aegis, you're probably going to get a couple kills out of it, and as a result, he's just farming Ancients. It's going to be a very passive game from him, which gives Fire all the time to get all their ultimates online, get their ranged heroes farmed up. So in general, it's not only slowing down the Ursa, it's buying space for Fire. Just the fact that they keep that on lockdown.
It feels like T-Show are like, it sucks for the Ursa to have to kind of fall back on opportunities like this, but they also do need their support staff to kind of get something going. It looks like they're going to prioritize the bottom lane for this Nightstalker. Having that map control could be very nice. When you're going against a Beastmaster and a Hawk, you might need to kind of force some farm onto your Nightstalker to kind of help counteract it if possible. While even Witch Doctor getting his own bit of jungle farm. Hell, this guy's nearly level 6, and you never know in a game like this, a creepy little Death Ward could, you know, turn things around with the amount of control they already have in their team fight. We'll have to see, though, if that's the case. And even Tavo, only level 4 for him. So you're looking at level 5 near 6 Witch Doctor and the Darkseer, who is also just needs the top lane to himself for a little bit longer. So with all that, and you have to factor in this Ursa doing his own jungle farm, I'm curious to see if Fire are going to recognize that this is what's happening and use it to make a fight happen, especially now that it's daytime. And it looks like they will, Blaze. They already smoke up, and they are making their trot towards this mid lane.
Should be a pretty easy kill on the Invoker here. The Witch Doctor is behind him, which is a good thing, but once you're roared, you're just completely caught in position, and they should be able to get in range because he's got no X.
Let's see if they can get it here. ZS is pretty far forward. Dragon Fist going to soften him up with there, but there's the roar. He's locked in place. Can they get in there with the Witch Doctor cast? Can the bounces be there for him? They're going to stand and plant, and they're going to get the kill onto Dragon Fist. Invoker, though, will be the return kill, and now comes the rest of Team Fire muscling on forward. It is going to be another takedown. Demon does fall to the Ursa, and it looks like T-Show are going to be able to make it away with more bodies on the floor from the side of Fire. The score now going to be 3-1.
Double damage.
The Invoker absolutely dead to rights there, but the fact is they were able to get enough back for the Ursa that it was well worth the exchange. Now he's got a Mask of Madness, and he's going to be able to just put out so much offensive pressure here. Might even go for the Blink Dagger next and just go like full glass cannon, because you know that you're not going to be tanky against a Shadow Demon. When Shadow Demon maxes Soul Catcher, it takes away like 3/4 of the value of Enrage, so you might as well just not even worry about the Enrage mitigation factor and just go for the Mask of Madness while you're ulting. And that'll, yes, it'll make you really squishy. Yes, you're really easy to bring down, but you can also kill any of these heroes within like a fraction of like 3 seconds.
Looks like there is a play in motion coming out from Fire in hopes of getting a grab here on the bottom lane. A daytime, day-walking Night Stalker, not the scariest thing out there, but still have to consider the fact that rotations could still come in from the side of T-Show. A lot missing on the map from the point of view of Fire as they're all back in the base, but they are going to start softening him up a bit. Whitebeard hits him up with the Sunray. Look at that. It brings him down nearly to half-life, and now Demon makes his move. Man labeled #1 running in. The roar's going to be out, and it looks like Mr. Polsk is going to be in trouble, but no! They end up returning another kill for themselves. It's going to be Demon going down. They finally do get the Beastmaster. Death Ward committed. Fluff tries to stop it with the disruption. It will for a little bit, but eventually he does come out and goes down. AAA making his move for Whitebeard. He's going to be able to slash down the bird. It forces out the egg. The egg is so soft and weak at level 1, though. It does go pop. And 3 from Fire going to be going down in exchange for just the support staff of T-Show. A big win for them, and it could be bigger if they can grab Dragon Fist, but my God, barely slips away with the blink, heads up north, and T-Show think he goes south, and they're not going to be able to get the grab. Could have been absolutely terrible for Fire. Still, though, a very bad situation. It's going to be T-Show walking away with just a little bit of extra golden XP with in their bucket.
Yeah, the mind games are actually pretty real there for Dragon Fist, because oh no, the Sunstrike, oh, he still misses it! He had an Observer Ward to scout it, and he still missed it. Oh man, I feel like Dragon Fist just completely outplayed them with the fact that he didn't blink to the trees, where 99% of Queen of Pains would have gone for, instead of the Screaming the Wave, just gone for the Blink TP, but he Screams, doesn't have the mana for Blink TP, so he just blinks and uses the Fog of War to his advantage, makes it all the way back, and luckily the Sunstrike doesn't punish him from that mid lane ward. But yeah, all in all, it was tough for Fire to even consider that fight down bottom without the Sandy's Eclipse. They kind of wasted it on mid lane. So the fact is, T-Show have still come up the better.
Ooh, we got a creepy T-Show squad moving into the Roche pit, but with the vision, Fire see it going, and look at this bear get burnt right up. He's down to about 1/4 of his life, and he's got to make his escape, but then comes in C4T, drops down the Coconut, drops down the Death Ward, does some good damage, but not going to be enough to finish anyone off. A very weak Ursa's going to have to step out. Fluff also pretty beaten and battered. Pulls off in the meantime, and now we're into a bit of a standoff here near the pit. They didn't get a huge amount of damage onto this Roche, but nearly down to half of its life. Fire still do not want to allow him to get anything away from it. Whitebeard is going to have to Icarus dive up to the high ground. Turns back, has the Sunray here, in hopes of baiting in the Ursa a bit. Now they're going to make the move for Justin. Justin holding out. He's silenced up. Can't get the Astral off. He's leading him right into a nice egg from the high ground, but they quick to turn around. Look at the Ursa going right back into the Roche pit, but he is getting Sunrayed down. On the other side, it will be the Invoker getting the pick onto Demon. Demon going to get dropped for the 3rd fight straight here, so he's going to be out. That's no Primal Roar now for Fire, but I think T-Show have just eaten so much damage that they can't afford to stay around with their lack of resources, so they just split. And it looks like Fire are going to be winning this one, but they don't have the firepower to just kind of take over Roche, so they have to get back to business elsewhere.
Yeah, I'm really surprised the Ursa stuck around that long. I mean, he had almost no health. He lifestealed a bit. He got a little Voodoo Restoration, but he was really just completely incapable of contesting that position, especially with the Hawks in play, and he just tried for it anyways. But in the meantime, the Invoker did get to go for a really cool combo with the Darkseer. Iron Shell plus Cold Snap. As soon as it's high enough level to trigger that at level 5, you just like chain stunning this hero, and it's so difficult to respond. But there's going to be a fight down bottom.
On bottom lane here, can Justin make it away? He's cold sapped up the Sunray, doing some damage and doing some heal work. They drop the Sands Eclipse, but it's not going to be enough to get any finish. C14 moves in, gets a death ward, but the Astral is not going to be allowing the finish. And now that means a turnaround. Invoker going to be going down. They step forward. Night Stalker helps get the finish as they get the return fire onto Dragon Fist after cleaning up a double kill for himself. It's Fire who stand that much stronger. But they're not done yet. It looks like this Night Stalker rolls in, does not like that frickin' Sunbeam, and has to get the hell back, but Whitebeard won't let him go, and he burns him all the way down to his death. And Fire will make it away with a nod and a feather in their cap as they get a slight about 1K gold swing their way, and about the same for XP.
The boar slow is so strong at this stage. Demon actually has not gotten a single point in the wild axes. He's going for full boar plus aura and 40% slow on top of the sun rays. It just makes it, even the Night Stalker, who usually is the hunter in the night, he usually speeds his way in and out of engagements. He's the one that gets run down. So Fire take, I would consider their first really significant win. And while they do have to play a little bit more careful with their ultimates on cooldown, they're overall taking better control of the map right now. And T-Show know they have to do something about that. So they're going to smoke. I think they bring the Ursa to the pit and bring the other 3 heroes elsewhere to kill.
We'll see if that's going to be the case here. Ursa way out in front. He seems to be hungry for Roche. He's beelining it there. And he even grabs the bounty along the way. It could have been spotted under this ward on the high ground if they were paying attention, but it looks like they're not. And just as you said, the rest of T-Show look to intercept Fire from roading up to the north right now. That's going to be the primal roll coming out from Demon. Looks like it's the catch for Tavo. Tavo eating a lot of damage, getting burned on up. It's going to be forced to retreat. He doesn't have the wall, so can't commit it in. He makes the surge away, but Dragon Fist looks to chase. Can't finish him off right now, but they will get the grab instead, taking down C4T. Witch Doctor is going to be your first death of this fight. And now Fire are able to bully the rest of T-Show back, but T-Show, oh, they're rubbing their palms together. They're like, it's okay because we created the space for Mr. AAA. He's going to pick up the precious Aegis and take his business towards the mid lane, Blaze.
Yeah, it's absolutely imperative that they get that Aegis and they get that Roshan sooner rather than later. So sacrificing the Witch Doctor for that, they probably would have traded another support for that. But just getting the Witch Doctor down, yeah, it hurts. But much more importantly, QSL finally has this Aegis. He finally has the ability to commit hard to these fights. I mean, he's got the Blink, Mask of Madness now, so he's got damage. He just needs to kind of have that courage, and the Second Life definitely provides him that.
We're forecasting a Diffusal to possibly be the next pickup to go along with Tradition here, or do you think a variation could be in order for him in this game?
For the Ursa, it's not bad, but I usually see it when the first Ghost Scepter comes out. That's when you have the most incentive to go for the Diffusal Blade. It's still strong no matter what, but if he can, I would say wait to make an item decision for when the next fight happens. If you get like 3 kills and you can start beelining for a Scotty or a Basher or something, sometimes people like Aghanim Scepter, but I don't think that's great this game. It's good against Primal Roar. That's really the only reason you would get the Ags, is if you're worried about getting roared every fight.
We'll have to see if he decides to, because we already mentioned about how a BKB might not be the most fruitful option in this particular game against a team like Fire with their lineup, but maybe he goes more in for bashing damage or something. We'll have to keep an eye on him to see where he decides to progress here. But I would agree getting the extra intel would be more valuable here. And waiting it out. We look at Demon, and well, he's already got the first level of his book. It's not the best timing for him. He has been, unfortunately, pretty much taken down in every fight, and each time he's taken down, it's been pretty early in the fight, so he's not able to participate a lot in the XP and the gold. He is able to avoid trouble here from the Ursa, who will farm up the bacon of these boars a bit, and it looks like they'll turn this into a segue. They're finally going to be trying to finish off the final level 1 tower here in the bottom lane. I don't think it's going to be worth Fire's time to respond. Instead, Blaze, they will split pressure on the middle and the top lanes and get a couple of tier 1s themselves.
Yeah, we're actually going to see the response up top because of how slow it is that Fire are taking this tower. These are not tower demolishers. These are not pushing heroes. So it's really easy for T-Show to just change their position. But while they surge up top, we're also seeing a go down bottom. But it looks like the OD will barely be able to TP out. No, the Cold Snap finds him first.
Cold snapped up. Can Justin make it away from trouble? Even a death ward, a vacuum back into that ward. It's going to force out the Astral right now. It looks like bottom lane, they did not get into trouble. So we'll keep action here as Justin does get finished off. The rest of Team Fire changed momentum from that bottom lane. They now look for the mid lane grab on the Night Stalker, but he knows that, well, something's up. The map is awfully dark, and he doesn't know exactly where everyone is outside of Mr. Whitebeard here. He now will get a brief glimpse of Demon, and he avoids the trouble. T-Show looking pretty good here in game number 1, Blaze. This is a match where most people just maybe based on names and former experience that they would have Fire as a pretty heavy odds favorite. But you got to remember it's a brand new roster for them. while T-Show have at least had a couple of competitions, a couple of events, or at least a fair amount of matches to get some practice in.
Yeah, it's very possible that there are some communication issues. There are some conflicting ideas between a couple of players. Let's say Demon wants to go south on one of the team fights where he died to the Invoker, and then everybody else wants to kind of force through the river. Like, that in of itself, just a slight change in positioning, that where not everybody's on the same page, can absolutely change how a fight plays out. So it's definitely going to be something that they build with experience, but I mean, T-Show are doing really well right now. I mean, of course, Tavo is still not getting the wall. That's the one thing that bothers me. He's got 3 points of vacuum, but no wall replica.
Yeah.
But we'll see a fight on the Invoker.
Big catch, Primal Roar, right onto ZS. That Invoker will go down just as fast as he was spotted out, and it looks like a follow-up could be in order here for the Night Stalker. He's getting pretty damn good damage here on a Whitebeard. Will there be a jump from the bear to finish off the bird? No. He goes instead into the other target, Mr. Dragon Fist, and well, that Queen of Pain will be able to blink away from trouble. Whitebeard will have to play it a bit more nervous. He has a TP scroll. He's also pretty dang close to finishing off this Force Staff here, so he would love to get that grab. And it looks like Fire again are going to be back in a dominant position as they move for this Tier 2 in the bottom lane. T-Show have yet to really kind of make use out of this Aegis Blaze, but I mean, has it been a worthwhile lifetime of this Aegis? Was he able to at least get some farm to justify it, or were they hoping to kind of get their hands more dirty, if you will?
I mean, he got the golden experience from Roche, but the Aegis has obviously done nothing for him. I don't think he's changed his movement or gameplay based on it, and that means it hasn't really been all that valuable. But still, I mean, I feel like they have some great fight potential. It's just, it's not really on the Ursa in particular. It's on this Invoker, who is now nearly maxed out on Exhort, comboing his Meteor with the Vacuum. Since Darkseer is not going for wall, it means he clearly knows the importance of his vacuums, and the big AoE spell you're looking for is that Meteor Deafening Blast.
And looks like Fire feel more comfortable about their position right now. They'll take their business towards this mid lane, anticipating that the Aegis has already expired. They make their move for this Tier 1. Should be an easy grab. Still no wall here on Mr. Tavo. I mean, I know one of the big perks, and we'll have to hold that thought, it's going to be a Roar caught out here. C4T, the Switch Doctor, maybe roaming about trying to do a little bit of dewardage, will be taken down for his trouble. It is just a support after all, but back on to Tavo here. I mean, Darkseer, one of his biggest, contributions to his team is he offers some of the best high ground defense in the game. So as long as he has the
top.
the wall by them, but top lane, yeah, they're making their move. Oh, can they get Justin down? He can't. Astral's going to be coming out, and now Mr. Ursa will be forced to quick TP. Dragon Fist does not have a way to cancel it, and he'll make his way out. While T-Show make their move for Fluff, they will be coming up short here. Unless he can land some sort of Hail Mary play here. Nah,
4 hits and no bash. That's not the RNG you want on the Ursa. Like, that's, I mean, 25%, you should get 1 bash out of that, but gets unfortunately unlucky, and DOD is able to survive through it. Fluff, on the other hand, not so much.
The move speed from Night Stalker, eventually he gets close enough for the Void, and that just leads to an easy setup from Fluff. And now this will be T-Show making their move. Mid lane right now, there's the jump for Dragon Fist, there's a bash, there's a lockdown, and that Queen of Pain can't do anything to respond. Astral possible setup right here. Whitebeard, who does have the egg, gonna be silenced up, forced to back into the high ground right now. T-Show looking to come together. They're even gonna bring out the darkness, and we'll have to see. Is it worth their Wild Blaze to kind of take advantage while Dragon Fist is out, or force out a buyback?
Yeah, I think they can at least commit to the Tier 2 tower. I mean, they definitely have a lot more physical damage, so they have the ability to take this tower within 20 seconds. While Fire are completely reliant on the Beastmaster, on Jimmy to get in there with either the Necros or at least the Aura. With them, they can clean this up even against the Glyph.
Here comes the Death Ray here, poking at this Ursa a bit, and even with his new set of items and a little bit of extra meat on the bones, that Ray still is able to kind of burn right through them. They will end up walking away with the tower takedown. Invoker picks up that one. They go back into the grind of pushing these lanes out. But Blazes, the clock does tick here. We're getting close to 23 minutes. You know, I put out a bit of skeptic towards the late game potential of Fire here. Is it for them and their benefit to try to now round this out sooner than later, or are they still good to kind of hold this one out? Because I would imagine T-Show are also fine playing the clock, based on the way the Darkseer's been leveling up a bit, and they've been taking things a bit easy with that Aegis. Oh, quick blink reaction will avoid the Astral there, but is it on Fire to kind of keep the ball moving right now, Blaze, and try to take some engagements here and some objectives?
Yeah, I mean, maybe you wait about 400 gold for Fluff and Stuff's Force Staff. That would really help to have a second Force Staff, as well as the Blinks and the Banishes to try to make it so easier to keep your heroes alive longer. Makes it much harder for Tisho to have target priority. So I would say grab the top tier 1, make sure you have the Force Staff before your next engagement. But otherwise, I would say, yeah, in general, Fire are the ones that need to start pushing, because the advantage is not going to come anytime soon. Like, maybe Justin gets a BKB as his next item, but that's so far away right now. And hell, with this glyph, that the fight may just ensue.
Okay, here comes the new boot to travel onto your ZS. They smoke. They're trying to make a catch onto anyone from Team Fire, but it looks like they'll be coming up short on all fronts. Fire make a hasty retreat, and they will avoid the trouble there from T-Show. But T-Show thirsty right now, Blaze. They are just hustling right into these woods. Are they going to get anybody? Is anybody juggling? Where are they? No one. They're gone. Oh, a smoke response here from Fire right now. Roche is up. I don't know if they're looking for an opportunity in the T-Show woods, or if they feel they could take this Roche out for themselves. It looks like it will be the latter. Justin goes right into the pit here. Can they get this done before T-Show knows what's happening? This could be a big boost for Fire.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, they are popping drums. They have Inner Beast Aura. That's a massive boost in attack speed. And the OD, while it can't do much to towers, can do a lot to Roshan with the bonus around 100 pure damage per hit, what the aura provides anyways. So yeah, they'll bring this Roche down very quickly. Finally scouted out, but moment too late. What? Why? He's last hit it!
Wait,
holy
what?
shit!
Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, no.
That is brilliant.
Okay.
ZS.
Well, good little snipe. Good little fortunate timing right there. Aegis will still be grabbed up, of course, from Justin, but, man, T-Show not letting Fire get the whole basket on that one. And now they'll be forced back to kind of defend out this top lane. What a confidence boost could be coming out here for T-Show right now.
Yeah, easy money right there. And he's going to be able to get away from top lane as well. So he pushes out the entirety of the top lane. He snatches the Roshan last hit, which gives a huge bounty just in its last hit itself, as well as for his team. He is now top in net worth. And they're just going to jump on him, kill off Whitebeard, it looks like. He's got Icarus, he's got Force. But is it going to be enough? I don't think so.
Yeah, Icarus, Tavo was already on the move, so in a good position for that vacuum back. Now the Alacrity's going to be out, and ZS looking to make his move. It will force out 2 TP rotations. That doesn't stop the Ursa Bear. He moves in, he slashes apart Fluff, and now looks to go for the chicken himself. But the egg's going to be popped, and he is eating huge damage right now. Coming out from OD. It might have been a bit too aggressive here from the show. And even C4T is also going to be falling in this act. And, well, for the rest of T-Show, they got to get the hell out of here. Fire, big boost for them. You took our Roche, well, we'll take your life. That's no problem.
Absolutely. And the big deal there is that the formation is just all disrupted from T-Show. It's kind of a pub playstyle to have the Ursa go in first. And like I mentioned, he's pretty much a glass cannon here. He did get to benefit fully from the Enrage because he killed the Shadow Demon before he got Soul Catchered. But even still, like, you want the Darkseer to come first. This Darkseer has Blink, he has Mech. That's your initiator. The Ursa, maybe he can initiate for like a solo pickoff, but he can't initiate into an entire team.
Dragon Fist sees his target here. He's making a move for this Invoker. Veiled up now, jumps in, the Scream, and that will be the end of it here. It looks like Invoker already taking his business elsewhere. He's very close to finishing out that Agnum Scepter, so would love to get that done before making their next engagement. Also, a big grab would be an Ags in the hands of this Night Stalker here, but looks like they got a little ways to go, and Fire has been kind of moving on all cylinders, not giving him the breathing room right now. Looking at Justin Blaze, he's got about 2.3k saved up right now. What would be the next best pickup for this big particular game, you think?
It's tough. I mean, I think we're past the point of Atos now. I don't think that it's going to be as valuable as it could have been if he had gone for it a lot earlier. So the natural thing would be BKB, since the Invoker's putting out so much, and you might be worried about the mischance from the Crippling Fear. So I would say BKB is probable. BKB Moonshard is usually what you'd look at there, but Hex, Atos are still viable options, just for lesser reasons.
Maybe a classic SMY. We might see that again. We'll see.
Yeah, well, if you actually look at Justin's luck on his aura, he's always sitting at like 10% mana. His Essence aura luck has been
Very
horrible.
generous.
So
Oh, he's back full. That's just wonderful.
Okay.
Good for
Cast
him.
a curse it. I'll give him a free mana bar, no problem.
Smoked up now. We'll see Fire make their next move here. This is probably a bit more pressure on T-Show to kind of get the most out of it right now. But they have a DD'd Ursa who's just kind of salivating at the mouth, if you will, for someone to come towards this bottom lane and defend this tier 1. Dragon Fist is the closest target, but he is also playing it very hesitant right now. We look from their perspective, and you can't see anyone from T-Show on the map, so yeah, they have a right to kind of be a little shaken in the boots right now, but not much longer. Fire now want to use Dragon Fist as a potential bait opportunity. If they make their jump for this QoP, they could potentially turn things around. They have the egg, they have everything in their ammunition ready to go. What they don't have, though, is a team on the other side to fight. It looks like T-Show has already departed and will take their business elsewhere.
Yeah. Not sure if you mentioned it yet, but Bago, the Night Stalker, does have an Aghanim Scepter now. So that means that during the nighttime compared to daytime, there's a huge difference in vision potential. The Hawk has lesser sight, darkness can reduce that even further, and then this Night Stalker, 1800, clear vision, up top. It's going to be so hard to hide. And I mean, obviously, they still have a lot of tools to run. They have Blinks, they have Force Staffs. But as far as actually evading sight, that's going to be very favorable for the Night Stalker now that he's sub-farmed.
Just got to get that mana gem here, and they can really pull out the full-blown radar mid lane. Invoker tussling a bit here with Fluff, but Sunstrike, Whitebeard walks into it on accident. Will be welcomed with losing half of his life, and hey, suddenly T-Show are feeling a bit rambunctious here. They're toying with the idea of making a move for fire, but it's actually Demon who jumps in. Primal Roar, and that could be that miscommunication, Blaze. He set something up, but the follow-up ain't there and ready yet. But will be enough to kind of jam it up for T-Show. It looks like it could be Sonic Wave. Boom! Xanathee's Eclipse. Going to be help finish off the Night Stalker here, but that's about it. Big damage onto the Witch Doctor, but C4T will make a retreat back to base, and the rest of T-Show will kind of step the hell out from there. So it cost them a couple of ultimates, Blaze, from Fire just to simply take down the one Night Stalker. I don't think that went to plan at all.
No, I mean, obviously they have a lot longer cooldowns to be working with here, so they have to get something out of this, and I don't even think they will. 28 seconds, this mid-tier 2. I mean, if they go gung-ho for this tower, I guess so, because right now the Ursa and the Darkseer aren't in fully in position, but they weren't really set back by that exchange. And yeah, I think this tier 2 is actually going to be contested.
We'll see, as Witch Doctor, no Death Ward for this fight, but we see Ursa rived up and ready with the Ion Shell, gets some quick slashes in, but there's going to be the kiting potential coming out from Fire with the disruption with the Force. Fluffle eating a lot of damage on their Force, not going to be enough. He does end up going down. They look for Justin, he gets the Astral, the egg gets shattered apart. Easy omelets happening here for T-Show as they quickly get the Fire extinguished and push him right back out from this mid lane. Justin will also be falling here, 3 down all day from the side of Fire. T-Show, confident as ever, will make their stride now down this mid lane to do some serious damage on the side of Fire. Force out a buyback if possible here onto Justin as he has 40 seconds or a buyback available. Fluff's out though for 17 seconds, and even Whitebeard not going to be a part of this one. He doesn't even have the egg. Looks like first base damage is going to be going the way of T-Show.
And that's Fire's first really big mistake of the game. There's no real value in that tower compared to the risk. They committed so many ultimates to kill that Night Stalker, and he's not even part of the actual fight plan of T-Show. He is a super ward. He is not really about the conflict directly. We do see still Jimmy doing Jimmy things. He'll be actually cutting the creep wave and nearly taking down the tier 2 tower, if not for the backdoor protection. But end of the day, Fire still losing a lot from that exchange, and that was a fight they absolutely did not need to take.
I don't mean to kind of isolate any particular player, but you can't help but notice that this OD's net worth is a bit low than where you would really like to be at this point. Is there a way for him to kind of make a bit of a recovery from it? He's making steps on building up his defenses. I mean, you're an OD with a drums, a blink, and a BKB. The damage is just not there. Outside of the extra intel he's able to sap, you know, when he first gets into these fights, he's throwing pillows, Blaze. It looks like a tough time for OD.
Yeah, it definitely can be really tough, and I guess he has BKB, so they doesn't have to worry about, well, a lot of spells, but there was an EMP last fight, even if it's only level 2. You gotta keep the mana up, man. You gotta keep your mana up if you're gonna keep farming and keep fighting. So, I don't know, I would just say that T-Show are actually, oh, that's a nice little pick, it looks like. Witch Doctor has the TP, but I don't see him using it. So, that's a freebie. OD will bump up his net worth a little bit from that, but just in general, I would have to say that he needs to make the most of his daytime to expedite his farm, because during the nighttime, there's no way you can farm without 3 people behind you, and actually Jimmy showcases that quite clearly.
Demon down, farming out one of those side camps. He had already, as we saw, tickled the middle lane a bit and kind of was hanging out in the T-Show territory. This time he does get caught out and quickly ripped apart. He'll be out of the game now for 40 seconds. Does have a buyback available. T-Show going to take this time now to push out this bottom lane right here. Wuzzy. It has an Aghanim's. Did we bring that up? An Aghanim Scepter here for...
Yeah, it was picked up between the last 2 fights, but like I said, it's mostly to try to get rid of Primal Roar if it ever comes out against him, and that means the Roar has to go on a different target, because otherwise he's always going to enrage it.
Huge out for him right now, and you got to feel super confident if you're T-Show and being able to have that kind of escape plan, because Fire's big play was being able to kite around this Ursa, but if he's able to survive and kind of wait out all those stall tactics and kite tactics, he will be able to kind of get his say in, and we'll have to see. Now taking away a lot of the farm from the side of Fire, it's obvious that Fire are going to be on a bit of recovery mode here, just splitting out the lanes and stalling the game out as much as possible. But what is their dream setup now, Blaze? Like, what can they fall back on, or what's their next big item pickup that's going to be able to kind of get them back into this one? Because after they took that huge loss towards the mid lane, it's looking a little grim. Not out, down, but not out, but certainly down, Blaze.
Certainly. I mean, there's obviously a lot of issues with what they've got going on, but I don't think an item's going to get out of it, really. It's much more about what they do with the daytime. Maybe with the next Roche respawn, for example, they can get something, some momentum with the Aegis and the Cheese. But in general, they just need to make the most of the time that they have. This darkness has been really making it difficult to go for smoke plays and to go for ganks in general and offensive movements. But it's been T-Show dictating the course of action and in general the things going on in the game up until this point. So hopefully Fire can find something. But as we see, it looks like there's movement up top from T-Show at the same moment that Fire smoke bottom.
Yeah, and they do have some wards on Fluff, so they can take this opportunity to at least get some extra vision down.
I actually they warded this about like 5 minutes ago, and the Aghanim's gem Night Stalker, it's so easy for him to de-ward something like that. So I would say maybe like a southern lane ward or something where the Night Stalker's not really as commonly going to be walking, but in this case they wanted to try to keep the rush safe, or at least to an extent.
Yeah, I mean, at least if they end up having to de-ward that, they'll know that they're on the way, but it's pretty obvious T-Show have now already committed to this top lane. Fire will anticipate getting this Roche for themselves. Okay, can we get another snipe coming in from Mr. Invoker? That'd be something special. No, not going to happen this time, of course. But they will get the kill. They will get the Aegis. It goes right back towards Justin here. And T-Show, will they pull the trigger on a high ground push here? Their Dark Seer is ready now. 2 levels of wall. He's got the blink. He's got his Greaves. Good to go. Looks like a tier 3 will be easily taken apart here for T-Show. So Raxes are going to be exposed, with Forge Spirit's already kind of tickling them out a bit. And this could be the beginning of T-Show maybe pulling out their own little bit of delay a game to kind of not worry about fighting into any sort of pesky Aegis. Or do you think they shouldn't have to worry about that they're still that much far ahead that even a good team fight with the Aegis on the side of Fire is, enough to their benefit?
I would still say that Fire are very happy about the time and space that they get out of this, because they're going to be able to finish the Hex. That is one item that I actually thought would take a lot longer for Dragon Fist to finish, but suddenly he's sitting on 4,500 gold. So Hex is very different from Roar in terms of being a single target disable, because it also silences, and most people won't think much of that, but I think about, like, if you Hex a Morphling, he can't morph. Well, an Ursa, even with Aghanim Scepter who gets hexed, can't enrage. So this is a disable that will stick. And yeah, just getting the Aegis to get just a little bit more time and space to finish that item up, and know that you're going to be able to take that 38, 39 minute fight.
Worthy tribute.
Here comes Fire now. Oh, they want. Oh, nice! He gets off the Purge onto little Dusky Husky. It's a BTS, man. I know that's sad to see, but man, free pick off for them with the benefit of that vision, and that will be a little hurt right there. It looks like it was the Shiva's recipe and plate mail. That is not going to be available now for T-Show, but look at what T-Show's doing, Blaze. They are going to pull out a full behind-the-back flank play here, led up with the smoke. This could be disaster for Fire. They're making their move. Who's their first target going to be? Okay, they're thinking about it. Hiding in the woods. They see the darkness out, and they're going to make their jump. They're looking for Whitebeard here. Vacuum, big one onto the wall. There goes the Meteor. Deafening blast. Whitebeard forced back. Can't get off the egg quite yet. There's the Sonic Wave. They will cost him Justin's Aegis right off the bat right now, but he comes back for round number 2, and T-Show might not have enough to survive this one. Sanity's Eclipse. Night Stalker able to get the kill, a double for himself, but Justin will finish him off. Invoker going to be spotted out. Can't Ghost walk away from this one. And it ends up being a 2-for-2 split as C4T will make his retreat back to base. Dragonfist not going to be able to get the spot onto that one, but look at the boost. Going for fire right now. Nearly a 1,500 gold swing for them, and they're not done yet. They're making their move now for the Ursa. Ursa trapped up and taken down. That's a huge boost now for fire. I don't know if they have the momentum to be able to take this into the high ground still, but man, oh man. This turns their gold lead up to nearly a 3,001 taking down that Ursa.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge pickups there, and they're going to be able to at least get some damage on this top tier 3. They're trying to force a buyback right now, but it looks like they just don't have the damage or the threatening presence. Their Intimidate check failed, but it's okay. They still got a lot out of that fight in and of itself, and a lot of it just came down to the chaos factor. Obviously, T-Show were looking for a clean opening, and then the Invoker and Witch Doctor walked right through a creep wave and showed pretty much their entire game plan. Like, if Invoker and Witch Doctor are running from as far behind enemy lines as possible, you know the entire team's there. The OD reposition didn't get picked immediately, and that got the chance to reset the fight. It almost looked like the Phoenix Supernova actually was going to get off, but even the distraction factor was enough for them to finish the subsequent engagement, and Fire are looking actually pretty strong right now. I mean, there's already the Hex on the Queen of Pain, but there's going to be one on the OD very shortly as well.
And I'm looking at what is possibly going to be either a Lotus Orb, Refresher here for Whitebeard as he picks up a Perseverance. It looks like it will be the Lotus Orb.
Yeah.
Solid grab there. Helps with removing any sort of hasty purges or getting the luck with the bounce back right there. Fire after a good solid fight, kind of avoiding the flank play there from T-Show, are not going to be able to get a lot of base pressure done. The tier 3 still standing, obviously. Invoker makes a hasty retreat as Fire make their presence down there. It's T-Show now who are on the back pedal. We'll have to see what they're going to be able to do to kind of get it back their way. 19-17, and the net worth lead, which was once just over 10K for T-Show, has been cut nearly in half, now down to 6.
Yeah, so in this position, like, T-Show have to be a little bit wary. The Abyssal is finally coming out on the Ursa, but did he sell his BKB? Okay, I'm actually really glad for that. I was going to talk about it, but essentially going Aghanims into BKB on the Ursa. I talked about just by the heroes that he's up against, he's got to be playing the glass cannon. He cannot just try to tank through it. He can't just like go Scotty, Hart, BKB, Aghanims, and just try to just survive through it all, because in the end he's just going to get kited. There are way too many kiting abilities. So I'm selling the BKB, now going for the Abyssal, gets the Queen of Pain!
Quick, easy work there from the Ursa, and he gets the Surge to just easily walk away. Dragon Fist out, over a minute, no buyback for him. Demon makes his jump, but he's not going to be able to get off the roar. He's silenced up, but a quick save from Fluff. Astral and both the Disruption going to be able to help him out, but it's not going to be enough. Demon will still go down. This is T-Show's moment to finish off game number 1. Justin, however, does run in, get off a big Sanity's Eclipse, which finishes off the Ursa. Egg now committed, that will force T-Show out. Fire hold for a bit, but damage has been done. They lose the tier 3, but he got the Sunstrike off and finishes off Justin right in front of his fountain. Oh, T-Show still get a lot from it, though. Arax, a tier 3, and 2 go down. Big boost for them.
And he blinked back too, so it was really well placed by the Invoker, making up for the one he missed in mid earlier by far. And I mean, they still got the buyback on the Beastmaster. No, not 2. I don't even think that's enough damage with him having 680 HP. It would have been just shy. But yeah, still, I mean, getting the buyback on the Beastmaster, getting the kill on the Queen of Pain. They did lose the Ursa quite abruptly, but that's going to happen. It just means that the Invoker has to do more to carry his own weight and to be the carry that they need when the Ursa goes down inevitably. So overall, T-Show making a really good jump there. The question is whether or not Fire will be fooled again. If Dragon Fist ever gets picked up by that Abyssal Blade solo, then they obviously didn't learn from this. But if they do take that new item into consideration, they can kind of change how they position and essentially just avoid giving QSL the opportunity.
Definitely need to stay far and spread. There is elements that T-Show can kind of slow siege, but it's not as potent as we see in a lot of other lineups. So if it does sacrifice a little bit of poking damage just to kind of set up for that perfect moment, you don't want to be kind of caught out as we saw Dragon Fist in that last skirmish here. So as you already said, I'm curious to see what elements Fire will take away from that one. For now, playing the game a bit more passive. They're scouting out for the next Roche, which we'll find out exactly how long it will be in about 30 seconds time. Both these teams would love to get the grab on it here. Invoker going back to work right now. nearly 6 slotted, a matter of pretty much replacing out his Midas for his next big item here. And do you think anything is going to be a bit extra saucy for him, if you will, Blaze, in this one, going straight for the Octarine Core? Or
Yeah.
oh, top lane. Uh-oh, did he learn? We asked the question. This time he has Whitebeard, though, to help him out. Good little Lotus and a forced push will get him away from trouble, and Ursa will not be able to have bat for dinner this time.
Only gets a few hits on him there. The Invoker can't really do much more with it. They really wanted another surprise jump, and just to follow up with that, with the Beastmaster lacking buyback, they can focus him next, and that could have been the top lane for sure, but does fall back, does stay safe. As far as the Invoker's next item, obviously the 2 items you're looking for are either the Octarine Core or the Refresher. With the fact that he has Blink, BKB, and Scythe of Vice, I would actually say the Refresher is stronger, just because your double Hex, double BKB brings so much to the table.
We'll see if that's going to be the case. The Roche is up. It's not a very long timer at all, and Tisho already go to work. And, of course, with the benefit of an Ursa, it doesn't take long at all. This Aegis will be claimed by Tisho on the Radiant. They walk away, and now they have the extra tools necessary. Ooh, swing and a miss on the Tornado Demon. Blinks over the left. He's been spotted, but the Deafening Blast, I'm sorry, the Mighty Frog says no longer will you be able to cancel that TP. Sunstrike just, I don't know, because he feels like he could still be there.
Yeah, you never know. Gotta go for it, man. You got 2-second invokes. Throw some spells up. But yeah, one thing, that's the second kill that he's missed with the Deafening Blast nerf. He also missed Fluff in mid because he's able to disrupt out of the Meteor Deafening Blast combo. So it's just like that small change definitely makes a big difference when you have heroes that can banish themselves, heroes that can blink somewhere. It's pretty brutal. But all the same, yeah, we've got now Fire, I would say, in a bit of a pickle. Whereas before, it's like, okay, you're fighting against an Ursa who technically carries harder than any of your 5, and you're fighting against a Night Stalker who has the best late game vision compared to the Beastmaster. But it's not all bad because you have X, Y, and Z. Now, because the Invoker's so big, and because there's an Aghanim Scepter on the Witch Doctor, I actually feel like Fire are outgunned, and as a result, they're going to have to outplay Tisho.
Tisho looking to creep in. It looked like they were trying to finish off that top racks, but they are already inside the base, utilizing that huge vision advantage. It's obvious by deduction they'll know exactly where Fire are in that bottom half of the base.
The problem is the logic here. The creep wave is in the top left corner of the map. There's no reason to go there. But, you know.
Well, now they have a reason. He's poking at the racks, and maybe they did that a bit sooner here, but it's going to be Ursa who could potentially be caught out. Does have that Aegis, of course. Now the Invoker makes his move in. BKB, but the Roar's going to be able to shut him down, and now Whitebeard committing in for the egg. They're not targeting him yet. Night Sucker tries to go for it, but that's not going to be enough, so the egg will explode. Justin goes down. Full buyback will be forced out. They need to hold here. Ursa will lose his Aegis. Sanity's Eclipse is going to be committed for it, so this could be a bit unnerving for Fire. Tisho look to reposition. They will instead finish off that second racks. Will Fire let them make it away? They might have to here. I don't think they have enough. Sunstrike does some work here onto Justin. The Force Spirits continue to attack, and Tisho say, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We pull back, we pull out. Uh-oh, Whitebeard doesn't make it to the low ground, probably for his better. He gets hit by a lot. Vacuum back, that's enough to take him down. That's Justin too. That's his buyback, and that could just be the game. Tisho quickly wipe out 3, make it 4 as they get Fluff on the way back. He is immediate with the buyback here. But look at the committed jump coming out from Ursa. Man mode, but he dies for it. Oh no, but they'll still be able to get Dragon Fist. They might get Fluff as well. That's his buyback. Oh, he almost gets Dragon Fist with the Sunstrike on the return of the disruption. Cute plays from Tisho there at the end, man. They went from 0 to 60 just like that. They get the huge fight. It looks like that will secure game number 1 for them.
And that is going to do it. GG is called by Whitebeard here, suddenly pulling it out as Whitebeard just steps a little bit too far forward. Obviously, Sunray gets vision, gives slow. They wanted to poke outside the base and see if they could follow up because they had a Hex off cooldown. They had some potential to maybe pick off the straggler. Let's say Tisho is all TPing out, and 2 or 3 of them are already concluding their TPs. There's a couple free kills there if Fluff goes or Whitebeard goes for that play with the Sunray. Unfortunately, they weren't. They had the high ground vision with the Night Stalker Axe, and they punished it heavily. Jumping in, beautiful blink vac wall, and it's an absolute disaster for Fire. Still, overall, this game had a lot of back and forth feeling to it just because of how the draft plays out. The fact that they have so many different ways to limit the impact of the Ursa that it's actually Tisho have to build up their other heroes, their spellcasters, in order to really have the potential to secure the kills in these fights. So what it ends up being is a nice little back and forth here where 47 minutes in, the Brazilian underdogs are able to claim game 1 of the best of 3.
They're the underdogs, but with a little bit of experience playing some games together, it creates enough unity for them that they make it work. Fire with their very fresh roster. Can they shake game number 1 off and make a return and try to take it to a 3-game stretch? We'll see after the break. Game 2 of T-Show versus Fire in the BTS Americas 4.